Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So you guys have been waiting, you've been wondering, did I get anything from the highly popular and anticipated Fenty Beauty collection? So for those of you that don't know, I don't know who wouldn't know, but there will be some people out there. Fenty Beauty is the makeup collection released by Rihanna. Rihanna's real name is Robin Fenty. Robin Fenty even, not Robin. Robin Fenty, so that's why she's obviously named her collection Fenty Beauty. Now this has been in the works for quite some time now. I've seen things online, but over the past couple of months mentioning that she's going to be releasing a collection of her own, and the only thing was that nobody ever released an actual date. Then all of a sudden, boom, it just dropped. Yes, okay, in September, on whatever date it was, I can't remember now. The whole entire line will be launching in the US and the UK. In the US, you can get it from fentybeauty.com themselves, and you can get it in Sephora, and in the UK is exclusive to Harvey Nichols. Harvey Nichols is a very upmarket department store in the UK. There's only like 5 or 6 branches in the entire UK as a whole. In London, it is only in Knightsbridge. Knightsbridge is where all the rich people live and all the rich people shop, not me. So the foundation, firstly, that is what this video is specifically going to be about. I've got other parts of the collection too, but I'm going to leave that for a separate video so we can just concentrate on just the foundation. Now, one thing I do have to say is I didn't think that their launch was probably done in the best kind of way. I mean, when all the major big beauty influencers in the world were invited to the launch of the Fenty Beauty collection, it was on the same night as the launch of the collection online itself as well. So whereas loads of people were relying on their influencers and people on YouTube that they follow to show them what they got so that they could get it on the day of the launch, it was the same day. And from what I saw online as well, on Snapchat and that sort of thing, and Instagram, when the actual launch itself happened, the lighting in there wasn't that great, so people were colour matched to shades which completely did not match them at all, and loads of people have then had to go in and get different shades. Example being Jeffree Star, he was matched to something too dark for him, so he had to go and then buy his own ones, and the same was for quite a lot of other people as well. Now for me, the issue was trying to pick my foundation shade online. Again, I knew it was going to launch at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is early for me because obviously I had to get ready for work, and I had to use their charts that they have, which I'll be honest with you were just not that good. They weren't that helpful, and I ended up picking a shade that I later kind of realised once I saw people wearing it online would be too dark for me. Now I do have to admit, obviously Fenty Beauty has released 40 foundation shades, which is almost unheard of in the beauty industry, catering from people who are the fairest of the fair to the darkest of dark. It even caters to people who have albinism. That's how you say it, albinism. So people who are albinos, who have no pigment to their skin, are beyond white almost. And I think that that's an amazing thing that she's done. I think it is definitely a groundbreaking thing for a company to come out with so many different shades. Now, I do have to say that personally, I think that the foundation range caters definitely more towards women of colour rather than the fairer end. And I know a lot of people are not happy about that, but you know what? If you want a pale foundation, or if you're very fair skinned, there are 101 brands out there that cater towards you, but not so many that cater towards women of colour. So please let the women of colour have that. You know, I know that there are loads of people that are annoyed about it, but it's like, you know what, get over it. You know, women of colour have been bumped so many times over the years. Till this day in 2017, it's still happening. So, you know what? It happens. But in my experience and from what I've seen online, even the fairest of fair people have still found shades that match them. Now, as I said, the foundation shade that I bought, I found out was too dark for me, and especially when I received it, I was like, this is way too dark for me. Now, I did something for you guys, it was only for you guys, that I have never done before, and I really hope that you appreciate that I've done this. One person said to me, oh, what a waste of money, and I actually found that comment quite ungrateful, because these foundations cost £26 each. When I figured out that this was not the right shade for me, and I wanted to help my subscribers, because there are so many conflicting videos online and it's so confusing, people are really finding it difficult to find their own colour. So I went out and bought another 2. And I would not normally do this. So 26 times 3 is a lot of money. And I have only done that for you guys, to help you guys. I would, even if I buy a foundation shade which isn't the right colour because I'm using an online chart to match myself, if it doesn't match me, I'm just going to put it to the side. I'm not going to go out and buy another one. I can't be bothered. But this time I decided, yes, I am going to do it. So I have bought the shades 330, 310 and 300. They are all in the tan section. There is a fair section, a medium section, a tan section and a dark section. Now I do have to say, I think I personally sit in the medium section. I think it was very difficult for a lot of people because you will read a description that says tan with medium to yellow undertones and you're like, that's me. I would say that. Somebody darker than me would say that, and somebody fairer than me would say that as well. They're like, we all kind of sit within that, but which one actually matches is very difficult, and that's why I know I found it quite difficult to match myself online based on charts. And even the swatches that they showed online on somebody's arm, I was like, you can't really tell, especially they are wet swatches. Now, one thing that I need to really dispel this rumor that is going around, it's not even a rumor, it's just incorrect information. These foundations do not oxidize. I repeat, they do not oxidize. Oxidization with foundations is what happens when you apply it to your skin and after a couple of hours, not minutes, a couple of hours, the color changes because of the natural oils on your skin as well as the air around you as well. So when that happens, a foundation becomes darker. What people are saying is that this oxidizes. It really does not. What happens is when you apply it to your face, as soon as it dries from liquid to a dried liquid, that doesn't even make sense, you know what I mean, it dries darker. That's completely different. It hasn't had time to sit on your skin long enough or have the air around it change the color. So please don't get confused in thinking that this oxidizes. It does not. Now let me just quickly read to you what they claim, what the claim is about this foundation. On the box itself it says, it doesn't say much, it just says medium to full coverage for all, long wear, light as air. That's literally all it says. And it says it's a soft matte long wear foundation with buildable medium to full coverage in boundary breaking range of shades. It gives an instantly smooth, pore diffused, shine free finish that easily builds to medium to full coverage. The oil free formula is made with a climate adaptive technology that's resistant to sweat and humidity, won't clog your pores, so that wherever you are, it's going to work on your skin. Best of all, this long wear light as air texture is undetectable on the skin, so you always look like you. I agree with that sentiment 110%. This foundation is excellent. I think it is an amazing foundation and I'm really happy that I got it, and I highly recommend you guys to get it too. Firstly, it's 32ml and in England it costs £26. Most normal foundations are 30ml. So this is actually a pretty decently priced foundation. I don't know how many other foundations out there that are 32ml, but that one is definitely not. And in the US it's $34. So really, really cheap. Let me just quickly show you what the packaging itself looks like. Just a kind of grayish box with some graffiti on it. Nothing too special. And this is the foundation itself. It's in a glass bottle. It's in a frosted glass bottle just with a plastic lid. It's nothing too special, to be honest. It's nothing fancy, nothing groundbreaking. And then on top, you've just got a pump. Now, for those of you that do know, oh my God, I'm going red. I've turned the heating on in the garage. I'm going red, I'm sorry. Maybe that will help actually when I do the demo, that you can see how much it covers my red face. I go red really quickly in heat. So for those of you that do know who don't know, I have been training for a half marathon. It's actually tomorrow. Today is my rest day, which is why I've been able to do this video for you guys. Now, if you follow me on Snapchat, obviously you know that I have come straight from work when I've got a full face of foundation on and I've had to go straight out for a run. There's no time for me to wash my face, cleanse this, tone that, whatever. I've had to go straight out with my makeup on. I do not recommend doing any kind of exercise with makeup. It's bad for your skin. We all know that. But sometimes, like in my instance, you have no choice. And I have had to run, and I'm talking 40-minute runs, doing like 5K, wearing this foundation. My face has looked amazing afterwards. Yes, there is a bit of sweat because I'm sweating, but as this quite clearly says, it's resistant to sweat and humidity. Afterwards, after my run, I look at my face and I'm like, I'm glowing a bit, but I actually look really good. And even though I've come home afterwards, and what I tend to do is I don't shower as soon as I come home. I need to eat within 30 minutes of getting home because that is how training is done. Once my skin and everything has kind of calmed down, I look at myself, you wouldn't be able to tell that I'd been going out for a run. The foundation doesn't move, it doesn't budge. Another thing is that I find that it's quite transfer proof as well. Not as much, I would say, as the Estee Lauder Double Wear, which is the most transfer proof foundation on the market. But it is definitely, if you guys on Snapchat remember, I was going like this with my foundation. And I was like, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And it was amazing. Now, obviously, if I'd done that after a run, it would be completely different because I've had the foundation on my face for like 14 hours. But generally, it does not transfer. So I love that about this. Gives the skin an instantly smooth, pore diffused, shine-free finish that easily builds to a medium to full coverage. Yes, 100%. I actually find this more full coverage than anything else. You don't have to use that much of this to get complete coverage over your face. You don't need to apply more than one layer, I'd say. Maybe a little bit more in the more troublesome areas like I have on my skin, but generally, you don't need to. It's got a very thin and watery consistency as well, which is almost strange when it comes to a full coverage foundation. I know it's called medium to full, but I would definitely say it's more on the full side. Full coverage foundations can always be quite thick, whereas this is very runny or runny-ish, making it easy to glide and apply and blend over the skin. It blends beautifully. There's no patchiness. It doesn't matter your skin type, whether you've got dry skin, whether you've got oily skin, this will work for you. Does it cling to any dry patches? Slightly. I had a bit of eczema here, but it's now gone. And it clung to it slightly, but it didn't do it too obviously, because at the end of the day, eczema is very different to normal dry skin. Bit adaptive technology. Well, like I said, look, we've come into the autumn months now. It's literally gone from summer straight into autumn in the UK. We barely had a summer, to be honest. Summer was in like June for like a week when I was fasting and I didn't get to enjoy it. But I've been going for a run. I've been outside running in the rain, in the wind, in the cold, and in the heat, in all different types of temperatures, and it has held up amazingly. How many other people's reviews have you seen that have told you that this works out in all environments? There's so many first impressions. It's like, yeah, but have you actually worn it for like a week? No. And it won't clog your pores, so wherever you are, it's going to work on your skin. Obviously, like I said, it's not good to wear makeup when you are working out, but considering it doesn't clog pores, I haven't got any spots or breakouts or anything as a result of wearing this during exercise. Best of all, this long-wearing, light as air texture is undetectable on your skin. Definitely, it looks like me, but so much better. I can't rave about this enough. I'm genuinely really, really happy with this. So now I'm just going to quickly show you the shades that I got. Again, even just by looking at it in the bottle, it can be quite difficult to guess the shade because the bottle is frosted and that actually does interfere slightly with it. So this first one here is 330, the middle one is 310, and this one is 300. These two are warmer yellow toned and this one is neutral. Can you see the difference? Hopefully you should be able to. Now, to give you a MAC reference, because that's what people seem to use the most, even though I don't really generally use MAC foundations that much anymore, I'm a MAC NC40. I don't have a tan at the moment. Like I said, even though I've been running outside, it's generally been in the evening or I've been in a park where I'm shaded, so I'm trying to stay out of the sun. So for me, it was trying to match myself to an NC40, which was very difficult. And I have to say, just between you and me, all three of these shades are dark for me. The irony of the person who told me I'm an Asian girl who likes to look white. What you gotta say now, eh? They are all too dark for me. Sometimes it can happen that you accidentally pick the wrong shade when you're just color matching yourself online. It's very different to going in store. Even though I do have to say that my friend Selena, Miss Beauty Addict, she did go into Harvey Nichols and got colour matched and it was done completely wrong. Sometimes I personally find the best person to do colour matching is you on yourself. The woman who did it on Selena put it on top of her actual foundation. What? That doesn't even make sense. I find when I want to buy a foundation, the best thing to do is go completely barefaced. Because if you've already got makeup on and they just wipe off one area and then you apply it, it still can be difficult to tell because you've got other makeup on your face. And psychologically, in the way your eyes are looking at it, it may get a little bit confused. So sometimes it's best to just completely do it like that. Let me just read to you what the descriptions of each of these are. So 300 is for medium to tan skin with neutral undertones. Now, I don't have neutral undertones. I'm very yellow and very warm. And as a result of that, you can tell that I look a bit beige rather than yellow, and I can still see on my neck that is a little bit dark for me, but by using a bronzer I've managed to fix that issue. Would I say that this is comparable to an NC40? I would say no. I would say it would work well for you if you are an NC42, but on the neutral side. So whatever the neutral equivalent of NC42 is. Now 310 is for medium to tan skin with very warm undertones. Now this again is a little bit dark for me. It's as dark as this one is 300. The only difference, one is warm toned and one is neutral toned. So this one I can get away with wearing a lot more because there's a lot more yellow in it. This is equivalent to an NC42. If you're an NC42, you need to buy the shade 310. And then the first one that I bought, which is 330, 330, is for tan skin with warm yellow undertone. See, the funny thing is, if I was to go to another brand and look for tan skin with warm yellow undertone, it would probably match me. But the range is so big, literally so big, that I have gone towards the darker end like I normally do with other brands without realizing it's actually too dark, because Rihanna has created that many shades for us. That's why I think she's amazing for doing this for people like us. Now this one, I wore this first because it was the first one that I bought, and this is to me equivalent to an NC44. So this one is clearly too dark for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to swatch all three of these on my face just so that you can see how they blend into my neck and my skin. Now, like I said, all three of them are too dark for me. For those of you that are an NC40, please feel free to let me know below what 200 shade that you bought, and eventually when I do get through finishing these, I might just sell 330 because it's just too dark for me. I won't ever get that dark. Even with a tan, I won't get that dark. And let's be honest, it's like September now. When am I going to get a tan? Next year? No point. I've probably used one or two pumps out of this. So if you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you. 20 quid. The one that I am going to use the most is definitely 310. Even though it's a little bit dark for me, I can still get away with it by lightening it slightly with a bit of concealer, as well as using my translucent powder. So that is 330. That is 310, and that is 300. You can see the big difference between them, and as you can see, the one that matches me the best is 310, even though that is also dark for me. You can see on my neck how it looks as well, and how it blends in. Even though I've not blended it in properly, it's more of like a face swatch for you guys to see how this comes out. And even though this one looks as if it may work okay for me, 300, because it's still drying, I'm not neutral undertones at all. Once it goes into the neck, it can make me look a little bit dark pale, if that makes sense. Okay, so now you can see it's dried down, and you can see that it has dried down darker. All three of them have dried down darker. But if you go like that, you can see how they compare to my skin tone. So these are definitely for the more darker end of the tan spectrum, if that's what you want to call it. So I guess I actually fit into medium rather than tan, which is a first for me. But you know what? I suppose I'm so used to having to use certain shades that when a brand actually comes along and does the shades properly, I was just confused. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to do a demo using one of these. So like I said, I will use the one which is 310, which is not the closest match, but the one that I can wear and make it wearable. And then I'll show you what concealers I use, etc., and how I can make the foundation work for my skin, even though it is a little bit dark. So you have to shake it because it is quite runny. Oops. So I've just done 2 pumps, and you can see how runny it is. Now I've still got some on my hand over here, which I may use just to top up areas that I want a little bit more coverage on. And I'm going to use this Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. You can use a beauty blender, you can use any brush you want. I'm just using this one because it's one of my favourites. It's a fairly dense brush, meaning it really buffs it in nicely. It's got a really weird smell. It reminds me of Johnson's baby bum wipes. So here you can probably see that it is slightly dark for me underneath here. But it blends beautifully. I've got concealer around my eyebrows, so I normally do my eyebrows after my foundation, but because of this demo, so I've got to make sure that the concealer blends into this darker shade properly. So I used the rest of what was on my hand just to go around any extra areas I wanted a bit more coverage. Might have a little bit more coverage. You can easily layer this foundation, which is one thing I definitely like. And it just blends beautifully. It doesn't dry down straight away, giving you the chance to really move it around properly before it starts to set. Just realised I forgot to put any primer on. You can put primer on. I actually bought some primer with me, completely forgot, never mind. But I have noticed that even if you don't wear primer, which I have tried it with none, it still sits beautifully on the skin and does not move around all day like some other foundations can do. You shouldn't have to buy a foundation which you have to use primer with. But and that's why I'm happy that this one is one of those ones, which is a rarity, to be honest. So it's already started to dry down. It already feels quite soft, quite matte. It's not coming off on my hands, even though it is fresh on my face, which I love. I can easily do that. So you don't even need to powder it down unless you really, really want to. But I, of course, am going to. So what I'm going to do first is, because obviously I need to finish the rest of my makeup, I'm going to use my concealer, which is the Colourpop No Filter Concealer in the shade Medium, and apply that under the eyes. Then you're definitely going to see the stark difference between a lighter shade and a darker shade. And then I am going to blend it all in and set it. You see now how obvious it is between the two? So I have to make sure that I blend out and blend it downwards slightly. Take the brush, which is a little bit more foundation on it. Blend it a little bit more so it's not too obvious light to dark. Now I'm just going to use my NYX HD finishing powder in the shade Banana. And now I'm going to set my face as I always do, using the Coty Airspun translucent powder. Now, of course, generally I would say do not go in so heavy with the powder, but there's a reason behind it, which you obviously know, is that the foundation is a little bit dark for me. And now you can see how much better it looks and how much it works. Yes, I know I look slightly too matte because, oh, hairs, because it's all very fresh and I just need to wait for it to settle a little bit. So I'm just going to do the rest of my face off camera and then I'll be back in a minute. So that's it. Makeup is now complete. On my lips I'm wearing Colourpop's Wild Nothing. The highlighter is Trophy Wife by Fenty Beauty. That'll be in a separate video, separate review, where I show you all the rest of the products that I bought as well. So as you can see, I've made it work as much as I can. If you look at my neckline, it's not too obvious. So I have just made it work. Now, when this foundation of mine does eventually finish, I will buy another one in the 200s. Like I said, for those of you who have actually gone in store and colour matched yourselves, let me know below what you guys think matches you. And I can guarantee you anything, I'm going to get one person who's an NC40 saying they're this colour, one person they're saying they're that colour, one person... That's why it gets so confusing. Other than that, I can't big up this foundation enough. I absolutely love it. I think it's excellent. I'm really happy with it. This is a 10 out of 10. It's absolutely excellent. The quality itself is amazing. The price point is amazing. And 40 foundation shades. Well done, Rihanna. Very happy. Very happy person I am. So let me know what your thoughts are. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.